Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Parr, and on this episode of Math Up to Par, we are going to be using the traditional method or the traditional algorithm to solve long division problems. So when we are solving a long division problem using the traditional method, we are going to follow these steps. Divide, then multiply, then subtract, then bring down, then repeat. Sometimes we'll repeat. At the end, we will not. So this kind of doesn't make sense without a problem in front of us, but I wanted to show you this because I have a trick that helps me remember. So the first letter in each of these are D, M, S, B, R. So I remember Dad, Mom, sister, brother, Rover, like a dog's name, Rover. Okay, some people think of, does McDonald's serve burgers? Really? Or some people do something with monkeys. You can use any sort of mnemonic device to help you remember. There are a lot out there. This is just the one that I use. So we are going to set up our long division problem. We need to remember a few things. We need to remember to line up our columns carefully. And if there's a number left at the end, it's called a remainder, okay? So let's try it for this problem right here, which is 68 divided by 3. So I'm going to set up my long division symbol, which looks like this, okay? I put the dividend in the middle, which is 68. And I put the divisor on the outside, which is 3, okay? And I'm going to remember over here, Dad, Mom, sister, brother, Rover, and these are going to talk me through the steps that I'm going to take to solve these problems. So when we are adding and multiplying, we always work from our ones place over to our biggest place. So we work from right to left. With division, it's the opposite. With division, we're going to work from left to right. So we're going to start with our biggest place. So right now, we are going to look at the digit 6. Our very first step is D for divide. We're going to say 6 divided by 3. Well, 6 divided by 3 is an even number, and that number is 2. So I'm going to put a 2 right here, lined up straight above my 6, okay? My next step is multiply. So now I'm going to multiply 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to write my 6 underneath right here. My next step is subtract. And let me go ahead and check these off as I go. I've divided, I've multiplied, now I'm subtracting, okay? So I'm going to subtract 6 minus 6. Well, 6 minus 6 is 0. My next step is B for bring down. I'm going to bring down my next digit, which is an 8. I'm going to bring it down right here. Then this is reminding me to repeat. I'm going to repeat this all over again. So now I am dividing this number, the last number that I wrote, which is 8. I'm dividing 8 by 3. Well, wait a second. 3 doesn't go into 8 evenly, and that's okay. We want to get it as close as possible without going over. So I'm going to skip count by 3s. 3, 6, 9. Whoops, 9 is bigger than 8, so I can't go that far. So I'm going to stop at 6. So 8 divided by 3 is 2 without going over. So now I'm going to multiply. I'm going to multiply the number I just wrote, which is 2. I'm going to multiply 2 times 3, which is 6. I've multiplied. Now I'm going to subtract. I'm going to do 8 minus 6 is 2. Is there anything over here that I can bring down? Nope. So I am done. My R, I'm not going to be able to repeat this problem because I have nothing left to bring down. This number at the bottom is called my remainder, okay? over here it reminded me that the remainder must be less than the divisor. So this number right here must be less than this number right here. If it's bigger, then you need to go back and try again and try to multiply it by a bigger number, okay? So the way I would write this number, it's a lot of twos, it's 22 remainder 2. So I'm going to put the letter R. You might see a lowercase r, you might see a capital R, but the letter R stands for remainder, so it would be remainder 2. So my answer would be 22 remainder 2. So that means that 3 goes into 68 22 times with 2 left over. You can think about it this way. If I had 68 M&Ms and I needed to split them into 3 bowls, I would put 22 M&Ms in each of those 3 bowls, but I'd have 2 M&Ms left over at the end that I couldn't share evenly. Let's try another problem. So now we're going to try 589 divided by 4. And I'm going to write my dad, mom, sister, brother, Rover on the side to help me remember what to do. Alrighty, let's do this. So my first step is D for divide. 4 goes into 5 one time, okay? Now I'm going to multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. Now I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Now I'm going to bring down. I'm going to bring down my 8. And now I'm going to repeat this whole process again. I'm going to use the number that I just wrote, which is 18. 18 divided by 4. Let's see, I'm going to skip count by 4s and I'm going to get as close as I can without going over. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Whoops, 20 is too big, so I'm going to stop at 16. So that means it goes into it 4 times without going over. So I'm going to put a 4 right here at the top. So I've divided. Now I'm going to multiply. You only multiply the digit you just wrote. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 4, which is 16. And now I'm going to subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. 1 minus 1 is 0. So now I'm going to bring down. I'm going to bring my 9 all the way down here. And I'm going to repeat the process all over again. So I have the number 29 down here. So now I'm going to say 29 divided by 4. So let's count by 4s and see how close we can get without going over. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. 32 is too big, so I'm going to stop at 28. So that means that it's 4 times 7. So 7 times 4 is 28. So I've multiplied, and now I'm going to subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. I have nothing left to bring down, and so I cannot repeat. So this number is smaller than this number, which means I've done it correctly for the remainder. So my answer is 147 remainder 1, which you might write with the word remainder, you might write it with the letter a big capital R or a lowercase r. But that means 589 can be divided by 4 into groups of 147 evenly with 1 left over at the end. Let's try some more. So remember, I'm going to set up my division symbol like this. I'm going to write my dividend in the middle, which is 138 for this problem down here. My divisor on the outside, which is 2. And I'm going to remind myself, dad, mom, sister, brother, Rover. Okay? So in this problem, you'll notice something. I can't divide 1 divided by 2, okay? It goes into it 0 times. It's not possible. So instead of doing 0 right here, I am now going to look at the number 13 because I can't just divide 1 by 2, but I can divide 13 by 2, okay? So 2 goes into 13. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 14 is too big. So it goes into it 6 times. Okay, so I've divided. Now I'm going to multiply. 6 times 2 is 12. So you see how I wrote this 6 right above the 3 over here in the tens place? Because I'm not dividing right here, I'm dividing over here. If you want to put a placeholder of a 0 right here, you can. Just know that it's not needed in your final answer, but it is certainly fine to do that to hold your spot. So I've multiplied, now I'm going to subtract. So I have 1 left over, and I'm going to bring down. I'm going to bring down my number 8. So now I'm going to repeat the whole process again. I'm going to divide 18 divided by 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Look at that. It goes into it exactly 9 times. So I'm going to write a 9 right here. I'm going to multiply 9 times 2, which is 18. And I'm going to subtract, which is going to give me 0. I have nothing left to bring down, so I can't repeat. Look at that. My remainder is 0. So I don't even need to write a remainder of 0 up here because there's nothing left over. So that means that the answer for 138 divided by 2 is 69. There's no remainder. Okay, that's your final answer. Let's do one more problem. 328, oops, divided by 5. You notice how I wrote the problem incorrectly at first? Sometimes that happens. You always want to double check to make sure that you're writing your problem down correctly so that you don't make any mistakes just doing the wrong problem. Alrighty, so let's look again. We have 3 divided by 5. Well, 5 doesn't go into 3, so I'm going to look at 32 instead of just 3, okay? So 5 goes into 32. Let's count. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 35 is too big, so I'm going to stop at 30, so that means 6. It goes into it 6 times. I'm going to multiply. 6 times 5 is 30. I'm going to subtract. 32 minus 30 is 2. I'm going to bring down my 8, and I'm going to repeat the whole thing. I'm going to divide 28 by 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 30 is too big, so I'm going to stop at 5. I'm going to multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. I'm going to subtract. I'm going to get 3. There's nothing left over here to bring down. There is nothing left to repeat. So that means I have a remainder of 3. So my final answer is 65, remainder 3, which means 328 can be split up 5 times with a remainder of 3. Long division is something that can be tricky, and it takes some time to learn. You can pretty much ask any adult out there, and they probably remember learning long division when they were younger, and it can be challenging. And so it is perfectly okay if by the end of this video you feel like you're still confused. That's totally okay. Be patient with yourself and allow yourself time to practice, okay? Having your multiplication and division facts memorized will help you immensely. If you don't have them memorized, having a multiplication chart nearby will help you solve some of these problems. Please remember that we all learn math at different speeds, and so it's not a race with how fast you need to learn this. So just be patient with yourself and take some time to learn it. You can watch this video again or any other of many other videos out there on YouTube that will show you how to do long division, and you'll get it eventually. I believe in you. So thanks so much for listening, and happy practicing.